All right. Hello, everybody. And I know I had said that this was going to be a March 2nd stream, but I wanted to figure out if I solved my little problem. I was telling you guys earlier that I had a frequency problem with the key frame rate or whatever. I think I got that figured out. It's not flashing yellow anymore. I got a solid green. So I had to move it from 0 to 2 seconds or something. So we should be good there. So on this one, we're going to cover three teams. We're going to cover Greg Noble, followed by Nick Ritz, and then JB Meeuwenberg. Greg Noble, this was his first year in the league, and I mean, he couldn't. He took over for Dennis this past summer. He took over for Dennis when Dennis stepped down, and I've known Greg for over 10 years easily. We worked together at Amway and stuff, and great guy. Great football fan. He unfortunately likes Michigan, but no one's perfect. So, um, but he'd never done fantasy before, right? And he always heard about it. Always said he would never do it. And then one day he's like, "I want to get in." So when Dennis' team became available, I said, "I got a team for you. Would you like to join our league?" And he said, "Yes, I would." And he and I had conversations. I was trying to explain things in the league to him, and I mean, look, the guy finished with an 11-3 record in the regular season. He was the number one seed going into the championship playoff. Not bad for your first time in the league. Actually, not bad for your first time ever doing fantasy football. Overall, Greg finished in second place overall. He lost the championship final to Tony. He won the Eastern Division. Um, for scoring, he scored 19,525 points, which put him fourth place in scoring overall. And points given up were 17,967 points, which was eighth um, in the league for points given up. As far as close games, he did have some of those. He had a 54 point win against Liam. He had a 15-point win against Tony. He had a 43-point win against Jordan. He had a 6-point win against JB. I'm sorry, 6-point loss against JB. He had a 48-point win against Anthony and a 52-point win against Jimmy. So all in all, I mean, you take that loss, turn that into a win. It doesn't really help him. He's number one seed either way. It just gives him 12 wins instead of 11. Even if the thing is, even if he would have lost some of those that were wins that were closer, it wouldn't have really mattered. He still would have won his division. It more or less would have come up in a seeding thing. He had a bye in the first round, and then in the second round, he beat Jordan by 942 points, and then he lost to Tony in the championship final by 195. He has a lot of options here for his five keepers. And he's another one that he's got guys he could trade some of these guys, improve himself, and then just move some of the ones that I didn't look at. The ones that are considered. So let's go through the five that I think he should keep. Quarterback Josh Allen should be an automatic keeper. Running back Najee Harris should be a keeper. Running back Rashad White should be a keeper. Wide receiver DK Metcalf and wide receiver Mari Cooper. Others to consider: wide receiver Chris Godwin, tight end David Njoku, tight end Dalton Kincaid, running back Zach Charbonnet, and quarterback Brock Purdy. Personally, if I was him, the only one I would maybe consider would be not to keep Cooper and to keep Godwin. But I mean, Cooper had a phenomenal season, and and the only thing kind of is downer about Godwin is Godwin always has a good season, always seems to get hurt though and miss some games. And I mean, both his tight ends played well. Zach Charbonnet was I think his first round pick. And Brock Purdy obviously is up. If he didn't have Josh Allen, he's keeping Purdy. But again, phenomenal first year. Looking forward to having him in this, for his second season. And I know, look at Tony. Tony came in his first year. He went to the finals and lost. His second year, he went to the finals and he won. So, Greg Prescott, or it's been set where you can come in and, and you definitely have a solid roster there, and you still have your first round. He didn't make a lot of trading in the pick department, so he's got almost all his picks. But yeah, definitely a good season for Greg Noble. Let's move on to Nick Ritz, our former 3-time league champion. So Nick Ritz, coming into the season, Nick Ritz was expected to be, as always, Nick's always considered to be a high contender in our league. Nick finished 7-7, which put him 9th place overall. But here's the numbers that's going to stick out at you, okay? Points scored. This is what he scored. 20,348 points. That's what he scored for the season. That was second overall in scoring. On the flip side, points against, 19,742, which was 14th overall. So he brought the heat, and so does opponents every week. So, and he had some games that, in all honesty, he had some close losses that he could have been a playoff team for sure. And had he got into that playoff, he could have done damage. So let's look at close games. He beat Nick Ergang by 67. He lost to Anthony by 60. He lost to Tony by 65. He beat Tony by 32. And then he lost again to Anthony by 92. So you take, in all honesty, if you take the 2 60-point losses he had, the 60 and the 65 against Tony and Anthony, he wins those, he's in the playoffs. And in the best of the rest tournament, he was in that. He beat me in the first round by 121. He lost to Rich by 97 in the second round. And here's another one. If his guys would have performed a little better, he could have been in that best of the rest final. And then he blew up Brady by 400 points in his game to finish 9th place overall. As far as his keepers, he's in a very, very good position for 2024. He's got some quarterback that might be an up-and-comer. Patrick Mahomes. Might want to look out for that guy. He might have a future in the league. Wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. Wide receiver Jalen Waddle. Wide receiver Brandon Ayuk. And running back Travis Etienne. Others for him to consider: wide receiver Brandon Cooks, running back DeAndre Swift, running back Cam Akers, and wide receiver Josh Downs. He's not keeping Downs over any of these guys, but Downs could be someone that someone may want to trade for. Same with Akers, same with Swift, and same with Cooks. Personally, I think he's going to keep the 5 I suggested, unless he makes any other moves with any of those individuals. Ayuk might be the one that he would maybe swap out if he wanted to go the route of keeping Akers. We don't know what Akers' future is in Minnesota. We don't know what Swift's future is. They definitely didn't have their best career years, let's just say that, this past season. And Cooks actually had a good season. The problem with Cooks is he's got CeeDee Lamb. So it really hurts him in that, you can't really start both of them because they're like hurting each other almost. Overall, Nick had another, contender year for sure. And with what he's got, as far as, he's got a lottery pick. Nick's future, of course, should be strong. Always brings a lot to the table when you play Nick Ritz. Brings a lot to the meeting as well. So looking forward to seeing him on March 23rd. So that was Nick's season. And now we'll go to JB Meeuwenberg. JB, we were very glad to have in the league. This is his first year in the league. He's not new to fantasy football, though. He actually took over. So he actually took over Guy Conkey's team. And for those of you who don't know, or most of you should know that watch this. We lost Guy back in December of 22, and JB was the first person that I said when I got to replace Guy's team, this is the man I got to call first because this is his best friend. And if there was someone that Guy would say, I want this guy to take over my team, it'd be JB for sure. So we're so glad to have JB in our league. Now, he took over a team that finished second place overall, was in the finals in 2022, lost Anthony, and actually had a pretty solid roster coming in, but he got the big time injury bug, big time. So he ended up 5-9 for his record, finished 13th place overall. I don't know, maybe call it the Super Bowl hangover. Maybe that's what it was. Who knows? So points scored. JB scored 17,427 points, which was 12th place overall. And points given up was 18,675, which was 12th place overall. So he didn't score a lot, and people scored on him, unfortunately. He did have some close games, though. Not enough that were to tip the scale, but I'll still point these out. He lost to Rich by 54 points. He beat Jimmy by 108. He beat Greg by 6 points. Lost to Megan by 56. And he lost to Nick Ritz by 97. And he beat Ian by 90. So I guess, maybe now that I look at it, you take the Rich game and the Megan game, that turns him around into a 7-7 team. And then if he would have beat Ritz, he still doesn't make the playoffs, but it makes his season look potentially a little bit better. His biggest hang-up, of course, he lost his quarterback pretty early in the season, Joe Burrow. And he had other injury issues, but here's who we're looking at potentially for his 5 keepers. Quarterback Joe Burrow will come back in 2024, of course. He had some running back, some Christian McCaffrey. Don't know a lot about this kid. I don't know if he's an up-and-comer or whatever. I heard he got some awards, may have played in a big game at the end of the year, but he also has running back Javonte Williams, wide receiver Nico Collins, who definitely had a big year, although he had some injury issues as well. And we think he could keep wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba from Seattle, who's the rookie, of course. Definitely a good upside there from the Ohio State University. Other considerations, wide receiver Romeo Doubs looked pretty good at the end of the year for the Packers. Elijah Moore, he didn't look too bad for Cleveland this year. I don't know if you replace any of those 5 with Elijah Moore. And tight end Pat Freiermuth, who was one of Guy's favorites, of course. I guess if you were going to replace anyone, you could look at that Javonte Williams spot, potentially. He's had some injury issues. You could look at the Jackson Smith-Njigba spot as well. I think Nico Collins stays there. Seems like he and C.J. Stroud have a good rapport going with each other, so I could see him staying there and not moving away from him. But overall, again, JB finished 13th place. He would have had the 4th overall pick, but he made a trade. What did the trade get him? What did he acquire in that deal? I don't even remember. I apologize, folks. I don't remember what he got in that deal. He and Kyle made a deal, or was that a previous trade? Maybe that was a Guy deal. Maybe that was an old Guy deal or something. I don't know. He doesn't have a first-round pick. I know that. But it would have been the 4th pick, at least 4th spot in the draft lottery. But overall, I see JB having good potential in the league. He was new to this type of scoring. Ours, of course, isn't your average scoring. We have a lot of high scoring, and I said he comes back with this lineup, good drafting. Um, an injury bug doesn't hit him. He's definitely a top contender in this league going forward. So, JB, welcome to the league. Good job for you. Good job for Greg. Good job for Ritz. And that'll end this stream. And this one's a bit quicker. I think on the other one I ran it on about a few other things. But again, March 23rd is going to be our big league meeting. As of right now, we're looking to have hopefully 12 people in the room. We'll have 4 in stream. We're going to have a couple draft representatives in the house as well. We'll have our draft lottery. We'll have the voting. Awards will be handed out. All the awards are in. We have the championship trophy. We have the best dressed trophy. The Peyton Hillis Award of Excellence. That's completed. So, yeah, and we have a couple new things that are coming into our league as well. Looking forward to unveil those. And again, thank you for watching.